This is Bryson's car. He found it, traded a dirt bike for it, and dragged it home on a trailer. He then spent nearly a year trying to get it to run. And then he left. He's gone for 2 years, and he really has no idea what I've been doing. I started with the engine because no car is worth its salt if it doesn't run. First, I just made it run, and then I pursued making it run well. I went through other mechanical items, wiring, brakes, suspension, wheels, and everything else I could think of to make the car reliable as a daily driver. I've been driving it myself for over a year, and with only a couple of rare exceptions, it hasn't let me down. I've been putting off the bodywork a little because I don't want the car to sit here in pieces while I wait for warmer temperatures so I can paint. Well, the temperatures are up and my days are numbered because Bryson gets home in less than 2 months. So it's time to get after the bodywork. That crack team of sanders came in and got the majority of the gray off the car. It left me with some work to do, and most of it is fine-tuning, a lot of which I did on the car, but when it comes right down to it, the panels have to come off to get all the sanding done the way it needs to be done. So it's time for disassembly. Not only do all the panels have to come off, in order to paint some of this structure up here in front, I also need to pull out a bunch of the componentry from the engine bay. And while I'm at it, I have a new radiator to put in, so we'll go ahead and yank this old one in preparation for the new one. What makes or breaks a paint job is not so much the painting. While, yeah, there's some skill and definitely some art in the painting, what really makes or breaks the paint job is the sanding. And more sanding. And when you think you're done sanding, you sand some more. Well, I'm getting really close to being ready to prime at least a couple of these key components. The hood is about 99% there. I've been filling all of the little low spots, and I feel pretty good about where that is. The plan of attack is like this. I want to be able to acclimate myself to this primer and paint and clear coat as I go. So my test panel will be, for the most part, the underside of this hood. So I'll prime that first, and while I've got some primer mixed up, I'll hit a couple of other things. The plan is to hit both fenders, the headlights, the fuel panel door, and probably the sunroof. The idea is that I would get through the first round of primer, let things seat and bake in for a little bit, check things out, do a little sanding as a final cleanup, and then I'd be ready for top coat on those parts. That gives me a chance to feel out the primer on the bottom of the hood where it's low penalty, and then be ready to go on some of the other parts, and gives it some time to cure before I put the top coat on. The plan at this point is to put the top coat and the clear coat on and then assemble, which I think will be the best way to do it. The danger there is that I may scratch some things during assembly, so the goal will be to have some other people here to help me. The upside is, though, that I get to paint all of the areas that might otherwise be covered up and left in a blue color. Admittedly hidden, but if any of those parts then come off, they reveal a blue. So where I stand today, the hood is about 99% done. The front fenders are about 90% done. Doors, gosh, maybe 60% done. Car, the body there is also about 60% done. And I've got a lot of masking to do. But before I get to any of that, I gotta finish up with the sanding. Like I said, when you think you're done sanding, you sand some more. Time for primer. I've swept, I've blown all the dust out, I've done vacuuming, I got the floor damp. That should take care of the dust pretty well. I've wiped everything with a tack cloth, so I think it's clean. I guess we'll hit it with primer and see what happens. There it is. Mostly that went down pretty well, but I screwed up over here. I don't know what happened. I think I got the gun too close right here on the high point of the fender. So I've got a run right here and a run right there. All things considered though, that went pretty well.